ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a late night interview on The Garby Show. Your host, Garby.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here tonight. Welcome back to The Garby Show, the show where we resurrect dead people. My guest today, Theodore Roosevelt. Welcome on in, Teddy.
Where the hell am I?
So, Mr. President, or should I say, former Mr. President. Folks out there, in case you didn't know, Theodore was the youngest president of the United States at the youthful age of 43. Very impressive stuff. So tell me, Teddy, can I call you Teddy? I'm going to call you Teddy. Why do you think the American people chose you to be their leader?
Well, I suppose it was because they were aware of my accolades and felt that I was fit to lead.
Fascinating. And what were those accolades you speak of?
Yes, well, I guess it really all began during the fight for independence in Cuba. I was very supportive of the freedom movement there and felt as if we, the United States, needed to intervene. I was the Assistant Secretary of the Navy at the time, and so I sent a few ships to Cuba, and one of those ships, the USS Maine, was attacked by the Spanish.
Oh, my stars and stripes. That's terrible. How did you know they did it? Did they claim responsibility?
Well, no, but I had a very strong feeling that they did.
So they didn't say anything about the attack?
They said they didn't do it.
So what did you do next?
Well, once we declared war on the Spanish, I stepped down as Assistant Secretary and went on to form the United States' 1st Voluntary Cavalry Regiment. My wife was adamant that I should remain in Washington for my own safety, but she did not account for me being so adamant about my desire to see combat.
Amazing. Who volunteered to join?
A whole lot of folk ranging from hunters, fellow cowboys, sheriffs, some athletic chaps from different colleges, and some Indians.
The irony isn't lost on me. That seems like a wild bunch. How did you manage to keep it all together?
Through hard work. It is no easy task to lead a group like that into war, but I made sure that we fought our very best. When we were in San Juan, I remember I was on my horse. I was leading a charge up Kettle Hill. I kept circling back down to make sure the men kept pushing. "March!" I yelled. It was rough.
Wow, that sounds like quite a rough ride.
Where was that laughter coming from? There's nobody there.
Extraordinary. So that's what got you in the White House, but what do you do when you're there? Huh?
Are you asking what we do in the White House? Well, I did a whole lot of my time in office. I aimed to improve our country's policies on foreign affairs. I helped preserve and protect hundreds of national parks across the nation. I was also pretty big on trust busting.
Well, this is a family show, so we don't need to hear much about your trust busting. But I do like to take very, very long walks in the park. Tell me about your work.
Right. Well, while I was in office, I often did everything in my power to help conservation efforts in America, from pushing bills and laws like the Newlands Reclamation Act and the Antiquities Act, which allowed me as president more power over protecting American land and wildlife. I was able to make 18 new national parks, 51 bird reserves, 4 game preserves, and over 150 national forests, all on my account of being president.
Why would anyone reserve a bird?
I'm going to move past that question. I was also the very first member of the Campfire Club of America. And I guess you could mention my executive order count at the end of my presidency, because I was forced to sign a bill to limit my ability to preserve any more land. So, I decided to do as many executive orders as possible before I signed.
And how many was that?
I ended my presidency with 1,081 executive orders, a little less than all the previous 25 presidents' orders combined before me.
You really weren't messing around with your executives, huh?
What?
And tell us about your famous canal. And what is this? Panini Canal?
Panama.
Panema, yes?
Well, for starters, the canal was made to easily bridge the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Panama is located in the perfect spot for such an idea. A big reason why I wanted a canal like this was so it'd be easier to bring our navy to either ocean faster. It was a little tough considering that, at the time, Panama was part of Colombia, and we tried to broker a deal with the Colombians, but they refused. Then that made all of the people of Panama mad, and since they were fighting for their independence, something that we would prefer, we stepped in and helped them. And, well, I'm going to assume you know the rest.
Maybe.
We made the canal.
Yeah, you did.
So, do you have any more questions for me?
Mr. Teddy Bear, what techniques and characteristics would you say you embodied or used as a leader throughout your time in office?
Good question, young Garby. I was brave and a daring president, but of course I had diplomatic and military competence and prowess. I would say I was highly efficient, and I was always supportive of the people of America, of our land, and our wildlife.
Wow, beautifully said there, Ted. Such a leader like yourself. Would you mind telling our viewers at home what they might be able to learn from you?
Yes. To all the youngsters out there, with self-discipline, most anything is possible.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, personally, I have never in my life ever envied a man with an easy life. I have envied a great many who have lived difficult ones and led them well.
Wow, can we get an applause for Mr. Fredbear over here? Thank you all for joining us today and for watching The Garby Show.
Okay, let's get this guy back in the ground.
Wait, what?